October, you devoted the whole episode to this guy and his supposedly strange behavior.
I never said I have information that satisfied me about Mikey McCoy.
Well, I'll ask you to clarify.
Quote.
Okay, well, you can clarify that in a moment. But let's hear what you said about Mikey McCoy before the meeting.
So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds.
Now, what was the new information that you got in your meeting with Erika about Mikey McCoy?
So I'm sorry your gotcha is not going too well, but I never then said, I am now satisfied that Mikey put the phone to his ear. What I presented to the public, it was what
I
Erika
didn't say
gave to
that.
me.
Sorry, just to clarify.
Yeah, well, you did say you have
inferred on your
satisfied.
podcast. Well, let me give you the chance to clarify. It's a very familiar story when it comes to debt. The banks win, you pay. Fees and phone calls pile up every month unless you fight back. It's a message Piers changed some of your mind, which had changed with Erika, that you'd received new information about Mikey McCoy, which had changed your mind. Would that be the best way to categorize it, or changed some of your mind?
No, I never said that. I just presented it. Well, the only thing that I clarified on my podcast, if that's what they're getting wrong, is that some people thought that he was using a nickname that was his middle name, and actually his real name is Michael, like first name Michael, because I was like trying to find something, and I was like, oh, maybe he's actually using his middle name. So that's what I clarified on my podcast.
And you were given call logs, is that right?
I presented.
You were shown call logs? You were shown call logs?
They gave me a printout of Mikey's call logs, and I gave it to the public. That's it. I mean, they're saying this, and then the public obviously comes back and says,
so do you believe Mikey McCoy had any prior knowledge of Charlie's murder?
I can't say that he had prior knowledge of the murder unless I have something concrete. I can't say anything about prior knowledge. What I can say is what happened on that day. Mikey's behavior is weird on that day. I find it weird, like I said in the podcast yesterday, that what has been communicated to the public is like he called Erika instantly. First thing he did was call Erika instantly. And that's actually the call logs show that he didn't call Erika instantly.
Well, what are you suggesting about this guy?
He called his wife instantly, and then he had 3 ways.
When you got a massive platform,
and then showing his call logs showed that Blake Neff actually didn't tell the truth about what happened on that day.
But here's the problem, Candace. You have a massive platform, as you know. Millions and millions of people hang on your every word. When you devote a large part of an entire episode to the strange behavior of Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, you are putting a target on the guy's back. You're inferring it has something to do with this, or something to do with some cover-up, or whatever it is you're inferring. You know what you're doing when you do that. When you saw Erika Kirk, did you say to her that you believe there's something suspicious about Michael McCoy? Was she able to explain to you why there isn't? Or does she share your view that he is somehow complicit in this in some way?
Well, we actually dedicated more time to speaking about his father, who I think it's strange to me that man calls himself a pastor. I communicated fully that everything about that man makes my skin crawl. I think he's a bad person. I think he's involved with bad people. And this is obviously, Mikey's a son. And, I asked a bit about Rob McCoy and Mikey McCoy's relationship. I would just like to be clear. I am not going to be emotionally conditioned to believe that asking questions when we aren't getting any answers is the crime itself. The crime was when Charlie got shot in the neck. So,
but you've already said, you've already said though, you told Erika.
The easiest way to remove, the easiest way, let me finish. You can't ask me questions and not let me finish my statement.
You're contradicting what you've just said to me.
But you have to.
You said to me earlier,
what did I contradict?
You said you gave 2 names of people in the Turning Point organization that you believe are complicit in some way. You gave those names, but you wouldn't name them because it wouldn't be right to do that. But you did name this guy, Mikey McCoy, who was the chief of staff.
Because his actions are strange. You're 2 different things. Really, Piers, I think you're having trouble holding on to 2 buckets of thought here, okay? You said, in regards to someone that was complicit in murder, that is a very serious allegation. I gave them names of people that would not surprise me if they did have foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's murder. You are now shifting gears and you're asking me about Mikey McCoy and why I am raising red flags about his behavior on that day. Because I believe his behavior on that day was weird. I think it's painfully obvious.
So
that
do you believe he's
I don't know
been
people that
complicit?
don't duck when a shot
Was
comes
he
down.
complicit?
So I'm pointing. I'm sorry that I have eyes, and I am agreeing with the public that Mikey McCoy's behavior was weird on that day. Okay, these are two different things. Now, if I'm going to make the an assertion that somebody had something to do with planning this murder, I better be damn sure. And I need, if I said that on my podcast, right? That's all I'm saying. I had never made that claim that Mikey McCoy planned Charlie Kirk's assassination.
No, I think like a lot of the claims you're making, it's difficult to work out what you're actually claiming. You're throwing a lot of mud in the air, including people's names, which immediately then has millions of people chasing after these guys on social media and thinking,
I'm sorry they get caught lying. Like, I'm sorry, what is this? This is like the public is actually being abused, okay? Let's stop pretending that the victim
Are they, or do you just want them to think they are?
No, the public is being abused because you're basically saying, stop noticing that people at Turning Point USA are lying.
No, I'm not.
How dare
No,
Candace and the public know?
See, a lot of the times,
No.
that's when I agree with Candace, is you find yourself in a position where it's not, they don't care about the truth. It's like, bro, stop making our idol look bad.
But
when there's an emphatic repudiation of what you're saying.
If Mikey lies and Rob McCoy lies and Blake Neff lies, and yes, all of these people have lied on record after the assassination, and the public goes, hey, that's kind of a weird lie. You're like, how dare you put a target on their back by noticing that they're lying? I mean, what weird psychological operation is this?
Do you believe?
Lie.
Okay, but do you believe Erika Kirk has been lying about it?
No, I have been explicit on my show when people were saying, why aren't you attacking Erika Kirk? I said, because Erika Kirk has not lied. If to the extent that she lies, I will call it out. And that is why I did call out when she lied, okay? When she said Charlie Kirk never received any text messages the night before saying that he was worried about that he was going to get murdered tomorrow. I instantly said, well, here we have it. That's a lie. He definitively did send out text messages to both Dan Flood and Andrew Kolba. And when we met in person, she clarified that, okay, yes, that's real. And we didn't know until you said it because he was using a different app and she was checking his iMessages. So to me, if you lie, you're going to make an enemy of me. Just don't lie. How about that basic requirement to say to people, don't lie about what happened on that day. Don't lie about what you did on that day, because that's the first clue to investigators that that person should be looked at further.
All
Again,
right.
this is common sense.
Okay, let's move to something else Blake Neff said. He said, Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. I could go on. There's always something new coming up. None of it ever pans out because from the start, there's been nothing there. What do you say to that?
He's lying. And that's the reason why Blake Neff is a suspicious character. I mean, him saying that I pointed to a soccer UVU person is complete fiction. I never had discussed that person on my show. Somebody was asking for a clearer photo of the person on X, and I shared it. No suspicion. Never said this person had anything to do with anything. I never covered him as a suspect on my show of anything at all. Didn't ask for more information on this person. That kid instantly responded and said, oh, those are our school colors, and that was it. And Turning Point tried to turn it into a thing. Why are you doing that? Regarding the Egyptian planes, that's a fact. Why are you saying she said that there was a military Egyptian plane on the ground that day? There was. In fact, there were two. So why are you pretending that that's like a weird thing to notice? And that is why people have been flagged about these planes. To his other,
let me ask you about the planes.
I'm never allowed to answer a single question that you say in entirety before you move on to the next question.
You can't just keep talking ad infinitum. I'm allowed to ask you another question.
No, it's called answering. You just read an entire statement of multiple points of blanks. I got to the second point and you're like, let me ask you a question.
No, I want to ask you. No,
Piers, you already asked me a question. I'm trying to answer the question that you asked.
No, I want to ask you a follow-up specifically about the Egyptian planes, given you've now addressed it, which is, where is the evidence that any of these Egyptian planes were tracking Erika Kirk?
I am going to be publishing the full document because there's not even just 2 planes. There's actually 4 planes that have been flying in, and I should be more thorough because I realized that the spreadsheet I posted
Erika Kirk.
Not that. Let me. Can I just please, without you cutting me off,
sure,
answer one thing? Okay, thank you. These Egyptian planes, more broadly speaking, now that we have gone deeper onto the planes, recognizing that the reaction to them is not normal, what we can say is that these Egyptian planes are tied to Israel. They've been flying in and out of Israel with their transponder off for years. But regarding the Turning Point USA picture, more broadly speaking, Turning Point USA faith, okay? Obviously, Erika has been involved in a lot of the church stuff. It's not specifically tracking just Erika. It's Turning Point faith events, broadly speaking. I gave that information as well. I told Justin Strife and Erika, I'm happy to give you this like color-coded spreadsheet. There's no question there's a correlation here between Turning Point USA faith in particular, which, by the way, from the beginning of this, I've said something is wrong with this faith contingent, especially because Rob McCoy for a while was heading up that department, and he makes my skin crawl. And so, yeah, I have the evidence for that. And we're going to actually publish it on our website.
Right,
so there can be no
okay.
question, which I should have done from the very beginning.
But let me ask you.
Showing that these planes were tracking Charlie. At various times there where Erika is, various times there where Rob McCoy is. But the consistent thread here is faith events, like Kingdom to the Capitol tour.
Assuming you're right, and I don't know, but I know Erika Kirk, when asked about this, said on CBS, if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You, Candace, say I was here on this date. I have a photo on my phone to prove I was actually in hospital having contractions. So that's one thing she's directly repudiated. But let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian planes were flying around tracking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, Faith and Erika Kirk. Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what's your theory then? You must have an idea.
My theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting
why is everybody
Egypt?
Why are we pretending that we don't know why we ask questions? Like why? Like you're a journalist.
But
you know what this is. You're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Theory?
Why do you want to know why these planes were tracking Charlie? Well, my theory is that we are being sold absolute Fed slop. The media is doing their Operation Mockingbird Part 2 scenario by telling us, well, unless you absolutely have a conclusion, you can't even ask the question. Yes, we very well can keep asking consistent questions until we get a clarified explanation for what happened on that day. And right now, we have nothing, okay? And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes and who believe in magic bully theory and who understand that Egyptian planes should not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly, okay? They've been tracking him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
No, nice try. It's not. It's you by saying, why are you asking questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is that this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans, and then you changed your mind.
Actually, this time,
I'll see you next year when you change your mind again, and we have more information about what happened, and you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular and then you change your mind.
You may remember that one of your courageous moves was to repeatedly tell the world that Brigitte Macron is a man. As you now know,
and she is.
As you now know, we had a $300,000 bet to charity about this because she's a woman.
Yes.
Is my view.
She's not a woman.
Well, we're going to find out is the point, because it's going to court. They're suing you. And when she proves, as she will, that she's a woman, because it's very easy to prove, and you lose that case, then
so easy that she refuses to do it for years.
But then it will become more obvious to people that, look, I think you're a brilliant operator at what you do. That's, I like you personally. You know that, right? None of this is personal for me about you at all. I just have watched him last year from Brigitte Macron now into the Charlie Kirk story. I think you've developed a modus operandi, which, to put it politely, is you flying